Hello and welcome to a Talmud Israeli production. Today we'll review the highlights of this week's course of Daf Yomi study, Masechet Bava Batra, pages 124 through 130, Kuf Chaf Daled through Kuf Lamed. 124. Misapka Leila Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia was in doubt about the following halachic question. Basically, it's a question of general principles in halachic jurisprudence. Is it that the law follows Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, Rebbe, the patriarch, when he disagrees with his colleague in the singular, but not when he disagrees with his colleagues in the plural? Or does the law follow Rebbe even when he disagrees with the plurality, even with the majority of his colleagues? So the question is posed and remains largely unanswered, but it shows you something very important. That Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, the redactor, the editor of the Mishnah, was regarded so highly that for sure he would win out in a halachic dispute against one colleague, and maybe, just maybe, he would win out a dispute even against all of his colleagues. 125. If a person says, my assets, my estate, will be going to my grandmother, and after her to my heirs. How they brought to the Havanasivas? Well, this guy had a daughter who was married. And she died in the lifetime both of her husband and of that grandmother. Butter the Shchiva de Savta, after grandma died, Ata Baal Katava, the husband of that daughter, wanted to pursue a claim for the estate of his father-in-law. Why? Because after all, the grandma is now out of the picture, and so the estate should go to the heirs of that man, and that man had no sons, but he had a daughter, and the daughter died, and he's the heir as the husband of that daughter, so all the money should go to him. Well, Rav Anan said, you don't get the money, son-in-law, because what was said was it's going to go to grandma, and then after that to my heirs, but not to my heirs' heirs. 126. Amarav Ashi. Bechor shenatal chelek pashut viter. If a firstborn son accepts a simple portion of a certain parcel of land in the estate of his father, then he has forfeited, he has waived his rights to get a double portion in the estate. Now the question is, my viter, what exactly did he waive? What rights did he pass up on? Rav Papa said, Viter bo'ota sadeh. He only waived a right to a special double portion in that particular field, the one that was being divided at that moment. However, Rav Papi said, no, Viter b'chol chasim kulan. Once you are accepting of a simple portion in any field, in any aspect of the distribution, then you've given up your rights as a bechor to a double portion in the entirety of the estate. So be careful what you do. 127. What happens if there were many sons and it was known who was the firstborn, but at some point along the way there was a mix-up and now we're not sure who the firstborn is? Kotvin Harsha Zulazu. Then those who might potentially be the firstborn can write a document to each other, exchanging documents, whereby each one confers upon the other the right to collect the double portion in the event that the one waiving the right was the firstborn. So it's a scheme by which these two brothers can make sure somebody's going to get an extra allotment at the expense of all the other brothers who are definitely not the firstborn. However, if it was never known who the firstborn was, meaning even at the earliest phases at birth, then you can't do the scheme of the harsha. 128. Halacha govin min ha'avadim. So Rav Yosef Bar Chama said that the law is you can collect a debt from Canaanite slaves. Now remember, debts are collected from heirs from real estate holdings. And there is a comparison drawn between parka, land, which passes down from generation to generation, the inheritance of our people in the land of Israel, and avadim Canaanim, Canaanite slaves. So if you can collect from land, you can collect from Canaanite slaves. However, Rav Nachman Amar Ein Govin, no, The parallel is not drawn for that purpose, and you cannot collect from live human beings, from Canaanite slaves. 129. Hilchata, the law is, Kol toch kedei dibur, kedibur dami. If you change what you've said very quickly after uttering the first statement, and within the time to say Shalom Alecha Rabbi Umori, peace be upon you, my rabbi, my teacher, which is a couple of seconds, if you make a blunder, a verbal blunder, and you quickly correct what you said, then the second thing is what matters. It's toch kedei dibur, within a short span of speech. It's like you said the second thing only, and you didn't say the first thing. However, this does not hold true with regard to idol worship. If your statement was concerning the worshiping of idols, there's no turning back and undoing the utterance. And if it was in the betrothal of a woman, kiddushin, again, no turning back. The first utterance stands, and some subsequent statement within a couple of seconds doesn't help to change things. 130. Homer ish ploni yirasheni b'makam sheyesh bat. If a person says so and so will inherit my estate, despite the fact that he has a daughter, or or my daughter will inherit me despite the fact that he has a son, lo amar velo klum. He has effectively said nothing of significance. Why? Because he made a stipulation contrary to what is written in the Torah, and you can't do that. And so your statement is null and void. However, Rabbi Yochanan ben Baroka said, if this was said regarding someone who is suitable to inherit this man under whatever condition, then his words count. However, if the person who he's trying to give all the stuff to is someone who could never be his heir, then his words are of no standing. Everyone have a great week.